Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you, brothers and sisters. And bring you greetings. Bring you greetings from the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, our leader, teacher, and guide. And I say, peace be unto you, the peace that goes beyond all understanding. Brothers and sisters, I'm so happy to be here again in front of you to give you guidance. Excuse me. I know you understand. To bring you guidance, to bring you direction, and to bring you strength. Because I'm sure that you would agree that that's the one thing that we need. We need guidance. We need direction, and we need strength in this hour that we're living in. You and I, brothers and sisters, are living in a dangerous hour. And we have to have teaching in this time, in this hour that we're in. And the reason I say that is that everywhere you look, everywhere you turn, the black man is in peril. We are in peril. We are in a very difficult season. Is that right or wrong? Right? And you can't argue that, because everywhere we look and everywhere we turn, absolutely everywhere we look and everywhere we turn, we find ourselves in peril. And we need God. If we need anyone and we need anything, we need God. And this system that we're in, they desire that we accept the things that are happening to us in our community. They don't care for loss of life. They don't care. They don't care for the killing and the effects of the killing that happens in the black community. They don't care, brothers and sisters. So the stage has to be set. And that stage can't be set unless you and I care. We have to care. We have to care about what's going on in our community. We have to care. So we pray in tradition of the Nation of Islam as taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the common prayer practiced by believers is often referred to as the Muslim prayer service or as the opening prayer. Unlike the 5 salah practiced in mainstream Islam, which are typically performed in Arabic, the prayers taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad were historically and are historically offered in English to ensure full understanding of the brothers and sisters in bondage here in America. Full understanding and mental connection for those reclaiming their identity. The opening prayer is the most common prayer, often recited at the beginning of the meetings or in private devotion, is as follows. Surely I have turned myself to thee, O Allah, trying to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth. I am not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer and my sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of the worlds. No associate has he, and of this I am commanded, and I am of those who submit. O Allah, thou art the King, there was no God but thee, thou art my Lord, and I am thine servant. I have been unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So forgive me my faults, for there is none who forgives faults but thee. Guide me to the best of morals, for none guides to the best of them but thee. And turn away me from the evil and indecent immorals, or rather indecent morals. For none turn away from me the evil and indecent morals but thee. Pardon me. And so we have to understand that the key characteristics of the prayer, the direction, believers typically face east toward the holy city of Mecca when offering their prayers. The prayer emphasizes self-correction. Excuse me, brothers and sisters, I know you understand. Self-correction and submission. It is a declaration that the believer's entire existence, business, family, and life belongs to Allah. The posture. It is often performed with the hands raised, palms up, or held at the sides depending on the specific setting. Temple service versus private prayer. The role of the messengership. Under these teachings, prayer are offered to Allah, but they frequently begin or end in acknowledging the lineage of the message, much like you did in your previous message if you did it today, brothers and sisters of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, to whom all praise is due, in the name of his messenger, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. This acknowledgement served as a reminder of the divine guidance that the Nation of Islam believed was brought to the black man and black woman here in America to provide them with a knowledge of self. To finish the prayer according to the opening prayer, the Muslim prayer service, as taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the completion is as follows. All praise is due to Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, master of the dear requital. Thee do we serve, and thee do we beseech for help. Guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, and not the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray. Amen. The meaning within the teaching of the Nation of Islam, this prayer derived from the Al-Fatiha, is often recited with specific focus on the restoration of the lost found people. That's you and I, brothers and sisters. We are lost but have been found. Thee do we serve. Is that right or wrong? This is your declaration of independence from all other masters, especially the white man, or systems that would try to control your destiny. My God, Allah. Thee do we beseech for help, especially when dealing with the trials of this world, such as legal and financial hurdles you've mentioned, right? This reminds the believer, whether he be Christian or Muslim, because that's the believer, that the ultimate source of relief is not the bank or the government, but Allah God. The right path under the messenger's guidance. This path is one of self-reliance, moral discipline, and economic strength. When you speak these words, are you using them as a strength to resolve the challenges of your business account, or are you seeking to deepen your understanding of the formal service? Brothers and sisters, I come before you to encourage you. You have to be encouraged because there's so much in this world to discourage us. Is that right or wrong? Brothers and sisters, the latest buzz within the Black Muslim ranks of the Nation of Islam is the death of Farrakhan. We have to organize. We have to organize. We have to organize our minds. We have to organize our bodies. And we have to organize our souls. Is that right or wrong? Because of what's in front of us and how the nation has been reordered to become more political than social, to become more integrative than its original purpose to be separated. And we have to talk about this. We can't wait. We already see the passing. I told you a few, just a few YouTube shows ago, I told you that God had shown me the passing of Farrakhan. We just witnessed, sadly, the loss, which we give great condolence to Sister Khadija Farrakhan Muhammad. But I told you that God had shown me the death of Farrakhan. And this is another window and an opening door for you to peer into. But the question is, what will we do when Farrakhan is gone? What will we do when the most honorable Silas Muhammad has transcended, has risen? What will we do? Brothers and sisters, the question has to be asked. We can't stay in the past, but we must move forward to the future. And we must, in this day and time, brothers and sisters, decide what must be done according to the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his guidance for the lost and found Black men and women in America who have been displaced from our land, our language, our more ways, our folk ways, and have need of being reconnected to every aspect of Africa, both mentally, spiritually, physically, and otherwise. So Elijah has to be resurrected within us. Is that right or wrong? And then we must resurrect him out of the tomb of time. Is that right or wrong? So the latest, they'll try to discourage you. They will try to discourage you, brothers and sisters. They have a lot of bad things to say about anyone that's standing up to do the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Even toward me, I stand out. They have a lot of negative things to say, and they will put it in Muslims, I call them Muslim, false Muslims' mouth. They will put it in fictions, false Christians' mouth, because I stand up and believe in defending our people, that we should defend ourselves to the maximum point of our ability. And this is what was taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. We have to be honest with ourselves and say that we have not been doing a great job, that we have failed in many areas. Is that right or wrong? As Muslims and as Black men, as Christian men, as Muslim men, as Black men, as the Black family, as Hebrews. Is that right or wrong? And they're killing our women, they're killing our men, they're killing our babies. And they'll speak ill of anyone who stands. Let's see what they say about me. Minister Mauricelm-Lei, ex-African American Defense League, leadership. In comparison, Mauricelm-Lei, ex of the African American Defense League of the Nation of Islam, has a different approach, right? They'll try to always put you against one another. Who have they put me against? Who have they put me against? The whole plan of the white man is divide and conquer. But this is the latest buzz. Mauricelm-Lei, ex African American Defense League leadership versus Louis Farrakhan. There's no way that I would be on the level of Farrakhan. But this is what the white press does. This is what they do. They'll go to AI and they'll put Minister Mauricelm-Lei, ex versus Louis Farrakhan. Right? This is what they do because they believe in divide and conquer. The key to our existence, there would be none of us, and I'm the least, a nobody. I'm a nobody. But we would not have significance if it had not been for the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now I'm going to read through this trash, but I'm going to get back to what's important. Elijah's message. Elijah is the messenger to the black man and the last messenger needed. There is no other needed after Elijah. There's no other needed after Elijah. Okay, so a comparison between Minister Mauricelm-Lei and they're careful to say of the African American Defense League. They won't tell you that I'm Muslim. They won't leave it on Muslim. They want to put black nationalism against the Nation of Islam, which is the same thing. There would be no black nationalism without the Nation of Islam. So let's go on reading. And Minister Louis Farrakhan of the Nation of Islam, NOI, reveals two different approaches to black nationalism, leadership structure, and activism, although both operate within the realm of radical, uncompromising rhetoric. Minister Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, as of 2026, Farrakhan remains the longstanding leader of the Nation of Islam, a structured organization founded on black separatist theology. Leadership style, centralized and hierarchical, Farrakhan leads the NOI as its supreme minister, focusing on religious theology, black self-determination, and moral rejuvenation. Example given, the Million Man March. And we're going to discuss this. Methods: use large-scale public oratory, mass rallies, and publication of Final Call newspaper to communicate directly with supporters ideology. Combines black nationalist theology with strict religious codes. He has maintained a focus of economic independence and has faced decades of criticism regarding anti-Semitism and homophobic rhetoric. Focus: institution building, theological training, and maintaining the legacy of Elijah Muhammad. Minister Mauricelm-Lei, African American Defense League. Mauricelm-Lei lead the African American Defense League, which generally focuses more on immediate physical defense and direct action racial injustice. Leadership style: activism driven, grassroots oriented, and often confrontational. It is less concerned with maintaining a strictly religious bureaucracy than the NOI. This is how they separate us, brothers and sisters. I just want to read this. Methods: emphasizes direct action, self-defense, swift reaction to police brutality and white supremacy action. Ideology is centered on, by any means necessary, defense of black community. It is more localized, flexible structure compared to, it is a more localized, flexible structure compared to the national, international structure of the NOI. Focus: immediate community protection and mobilization against active threats. Key differences feature Minister Louis Farrakhan, NOI Minister, Mauricelm-Lei, A2DL, organization formal, national, institutional, grassroots, activist-led ADL. Main focus. This is how they separate us. See, we're really after the same thing. They want to keep us separated, when really we're after the same thing. I just thought that I'd read this to you because I know the devil, he'll use whatever he can to keep us divided. Main focus: moral, religious separatism, economic, immediate, physical defense and action, rhetoric, prophetic, religious, nationalist, radical, militant, protective structure, rigid, hardcore, flexible, mobilization. Commonality: both leaders promote black autonomy, are deeply critical of American system of racism, use strong, provocative language, and are often portrayed negatively by mainstream media, which they both argue is intentional effort to undermine their effectiveness and discussed in about Farrakhan. Note: for official legal efforts aiming to advance equity in 2026, organizations like the Legal Defense Fund provide another perspective on systemic change. Listen to this now. This is important, brothers and sisters. I want to read this to you because it's very important for us. We've got to be united. We got to be united. But I want you to see this. Want you to understand. Now, for the official legal efforts aiming advance equity for 2026, organizations like the Legal Defense Fund provides another perspective on systemic change. The Legal Defense Fund and the Southern Poverty Law Center were just caught up into this conundrum where they have, and it's important for us to know that they are actually fueling these problems that we're having within the community concerning race. They're being paid to bait race. I'll leave that right there. You can do the research to find the receipts on that. Louis Farrakhan, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, blames Jews for slave trade, plantation slavery, Jim Crow, sharecropping, and general Black oppression, which is the truth. Farrakhan's tone grew more belligerent in the, according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Nation of Islam research. The Southern Poverty Law Center's belief is that Farrakhan belief is that by turning the Black population gay, this is what Farrakhan said, which is the truth, the government is trying to target and chemically castrate Black men. Not just target and chemically castrate Black men. The government is pushing it. And he's right, because if you bring out that femininity in Black men, then there's no defense. You understand what I'm saying? And no connection to the foundation of his natural self, what he was born to be. So that's very important. He also, this is Farrakhan, which Farrakhan's truth, telling the truth about this. He has also asserted that the Southern Poverty Law Center, this is Minister Farrakhan, and the Nation of Islam, Oxford Academic, May 20th, 2025, this is recent, that Farr founded the Nation of Islam in 1930 and Elijah assumed leadership in 1934. Though it is defined as the Islamic institution, the organization, this is from Oxford Academic, right? Legal Defense 2026 policy priorities. The Legal Defense Fund of Education. I'm trying to give you everybody who is sending money to warp the minds of people, right? Even warp the minds of white people who otherwise wouldn't be thinking and wouldn't be in that mindset. But remember, racism is a machine that has to be fed. The Legal Defense Fund will strive to increase access and affordability for higher education by increasing financial aid, especially grant aid to students, right? To teach them equity, right? This is their response to Mr. Farrakhan. Now, if they're going to do that, does it solve our problem? No, because America is racist. See, and America is going to continue, and this is why they don't want anyone telling you anything opposed to what you've already heard, because the whole game is to keep you down. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, look, forget about that government. Get your own government. Come out of them, O ye my people, separate from them, right? The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching us separation. Separate from that man. Separate from that enemy, right? And build up your own. Supply your own. Do for self. Is that right or wrong? And if we are concentrating on that, doing for self and protecting the Black community, we won't have any of these problems, right? So they attacked my brother, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, on truth that he speaks that is apparent with the naked eye. Apparent with the naked eye. So as you can see, there's no difference in what I believe or what Farrakhan believes, because Elijah taught self-defense. Elijah taught separation. Elijah taught aggressiveness toward your enemy. Elijah taught the do-for-self mentality. Elijah taught us to come out from among them. Is that right or wrong? These things Elijah taught. Malcolm didn't teach self-defense. Malcolm was doing what the most teaching what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was pouring in him. And if you listen, he'll tell you that. His teaching was under what the messenger was given. Brothers and sisters, I'm only going to give you the word of what the messenger said. Now, there are Muslims that say, well, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad didn't tell us to arm ourselves. Well, here's the thing. The Constitution gives you the right. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was not going to turn us away from our constitutional rights of arming ourselves. We didn't arm ourselves in formation. We don't arm ourselves in formation, but as citizens of the United States, under the Constitution that the white man say we have the Second Amendment right to arm ourselves. Now, let's see what else they said, right? The misunderstanding of Minister Louis Farrakhan. This is January 2017. Lastly, the Nation of Islam, under the Minister Louis Farrakhan's leadership, is one of the only remaining strong, independent Black organizations we have. This is what the white man would like for you to believe. This is why we must organize. The harsh reality in the Black African Coalition, Minister Farrakhan's facts about the historical figures, right? How they want us to believe Farrakhan is. And the place that they want to put in our minds psychologically to make us think that Farrakhan is our last hope. So when Farrakhan dies, what are we to do? And this is what we're here to discuss, brothers and sisters. This is what we're here to discuss. Okay? Is that, and it's very important for us to discuss it. Very important for us to discuss it. We must understand that to be regulated under a single leadership is foolish. There's no African kingdom. Listen to what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters. Now, with agreement, you could have several leaders under one teaching. Africa as a continent, as well as the African and the African of the diaspora, I'm speaking globally, is under one law in the sense of its moral, spiritual, and municipal teaching. And that law is the love of life, right? That's the law, the love of life. But that law also make allowances for self-defense. The law of an eye for an eye was used and imputed because of those who went against the law of peace, and also the devils that had invaded our land. And you have to understand this. You have to understand this. And the key to our understanding is to understand the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Understand who he was, who he is, and what he teaches. What he teaches in Message to the Black Man. And we have to understand that. We have to be cognitive and cognizant of what he teaches. What is the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? That's a question for us today, because that teaching, direct teaching, has to be resurrected. He didn't teach Scientology. I'm not speaking against the minister, Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm talking about the resurrection of Elijah. Get back to the basics. Because our religion, our self-defense, our do for self mentality, all of that comes out of there. We must get back. We must get back in touch. Get back in touch with the nation. The nation's teaching, the nation's ideology. So we have to explain the philosophy of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We have to understand the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We have to get back to the basic conviction of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's what's important. If we can't get that, brothers and sisters, we'll be off the mark. So we have to continue to go back. You know, you heard the old folks say, go back to that old landmark. We need to all go back to that old landmark. You've heard them singing, right? You've heard them singing. Let us all go back to that old landmark. And they will keep singing it in cadence. Let us all go back to that old landmark. Let us all go back to that old landmark, right? Well, we'll praise in the service of the Lord. Is that right? So we've got to go back to hear the original message, right? Because Elijah's teaching, right? Elijah's teaching tells us the truth. Elijah's teaching has us to focus on what's really going on, what's happening in our community, and how to deal with it. That's Elijah's teaching. Elijah's teaching tells us that America is hell and the white man is the devil. That's the original Elijah teaching, right? Before he was assassinated, because he was, through cortisone treatment for asthmatic bronchitis, they were poisoning the treatment. And he was in a den of thieves, unfortunately, especially his son, Wallace Waradin Muhammad, chief hypocrite that sought to destroy the Nation of Islam, and there were others. I'm not going to go there today. We're talking about establishing the true teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. There's something dealing with our Black folks, brothers and sisters. Trying to tell them the truth. It's something. But we have to continue in prayer, inshallah, that we will reach our brothers and sisters to be able to teach them the truth, brothers and sisters. To teach you the truth. This ain't got nothing to do with us. This is the truth according to Elijah. We have to understand the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What was his teaching? Would we be in the situation that we're in now had we stayed with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? And why was it important, so important for the government to drive a wedge in the Nation of Islam and to distort the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and to destroy the chief lieutenants, my God, of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? We have to question that. We have to think about that. We need to talk. The teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who led the Nation of Islam from 1934 until his death in 1975, represent a complex blend of religious theology, Black nationalism, economic self-reliance, and strict lifestyle discipline. Excuse me, brothers and sisters, I know you understand. His philosophy was designed to spiritually, psychologically, and economically rehabilitate the Black American who had endured centuries of slavery, Jim Crow laws, systemic racism, which we still deal with today. We still deal with that today, brothers and sisters. Is that right or wrong? While deeply influencing, right? Or while deeply creating influential in shaping Black pride and self-determination in the 20th century. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teachings also diverged significantly from both orthodox and mainstream scientific history. And there's a reason for that. The Arabs who put us in the slave trade is not qualified to lead us religiously. And they certainly should not be bedfellows in this teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad because the mindset of the white man, the same Arabs call themselves Egyptian, come out of the Mediterranean, invaded our lands in Africa and also America, fought, divided, integrated, degraded our people, which they're still doing today, and their thought on religion is not the same as yours because they're not the original man. Is it right or wrong, brothers and sisters? And many black folks, they have not been reminded of their nation, their culture, their continent, their spirituality, their moral ways, their folk ways, their customs, are not familiar with self-pride, self-dignity, self-respect, and a do-for-self mentality. So in a sense, they're black in presence, but white in structure. Is that right or wrong? I can give a comprehensive breakdown of the core pillars of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad to the best of my ability, if you allow me. Theology and knowledge of self. At the heart of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's doctrine is the concept of regaining knowledge of self, understanding one's true divine origin and identity. God in person, Master Fard Muhammad, unlike Orthodox Islam, which strictly teaches that God Allah is formless and unseen, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his wisdom given to him of God. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that God appeared in human form of Master W. Fard Muhammad in Detroit in 1930. Elijah Muhammad served as his chosen messenger. Now listen, if they can sell you a Jesus that came 2,000, almost 3,000 years ago, is that right or wrong? And the Quran speaks of Yahshua Asa, which is Jesus. The Bible speaks of Jesus, and all the other charisma, the Holy Book speaks of Jesus. Is that right or wrong? A Messiah, God in person. Is that right or wrong? They also speak of Melchizedek. Huh? Then why does the white man take this Islam and the teachings of it and the core principles and foundations and put it against their version of what's acceptable? Simple, divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. If the man can divide you, he can conquer you, and he's been doing that. Let's go further. The original man. He teaches that the black man is the original man, the Asiatic man, the first inhabitants and makers and owners of the planet Earth, possessing inherent divinity and historical greatness that have been erased through the trauma of slavery. You can't deny that. You can't deny that. Slavery has taken you and our oppression in this government, under this regime, globally and otherwise, has taken us from the knowledge of self, who we were prior to slavery, when all the evidence and excavation show that we were and are a mighty people who have been divorced from ourselves and must be brought back. The history of Yaqub, to explain the origin of white people and racial oppression. He teaches that the story of Yaqub, a rogue scientist who lived 6,000 years ago on the Isle of Patmos, which is Pelon, the Isle of Patmos, according to this narrative that we believe by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Yaqub used the process of selective breeding, which still happens today, grafting, to create the white race, who were given a limited time frame to rule the earth through deception and force before the original people reclaimed dominion. Right now, we are reclaiming dominion, brothers and sisters. That's why you see so many young black men fighting back, but they're being killed. Now they're starting to kill. They want to live. It don't make you a good Christian or a good Muslim that you let these white people kill you. There's no peace to be had. We don't need another 1 million man march. We didn't need the first 1 million man march. Come on, brothers and sisters. I'm appealing to you today. We didn't need the first Million Man March. Why are we going back? The first March on Washington, organized by A. Philip Randolph. The second one organized by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The third one, the Million Man March organized by Louis Farrakhan, is a corporate scheme to keep you organized, brothers and sisters. All of us have been used at one point or another. Is that right or wrong? I'm just speaking truth to you. I'm speaking truth to you because you need to hear it. Economic and social separatism. Do for self. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad argued that integration into a society built on white supremacy was neither possible nor desirable. Instead, he advocated the total independence. Is that right or wrong? Is that right or wrong? We know that integrating in this society has done nothing to help us. Nothing at all. As a matter of fact, on Sunday morning, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught Brother Minister Malcolm X, peace be upon them, as he taught them and mercy and understanding and teaching that Sunday morning is the most segregated time of the week and the most segregated time in America, the most segregated time in the world. So we have to embrace this knowledge and this teaching of this dear brother, dear man, dear teacher and messenger, that God embraced the message that God gave him, that it can deliver us in this time, brothers and sisters, and teach us to do something for ourselves, including building armies. Land and sovereignty. He called for the establishment of a separate independent nation for Black America, advocating that the United States government provide fertile land, territory, either in North America or elsewhere, as reparation for centuries of unpaid labor. And we give honor and praise. We give honor and praise for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan bringing this out. The Honorable Minister Silas Muhammad out of Houston, Texas, for bringing this out. We give honor and praise that the late Sister Khadijah constantly spoken about this, stayed on the mark of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad on this, that economic independence. He strongly championed the concept of do for self. He instructs his followers to stop pooling money into white-owned businesses and instead build Black-owned farms, banks, grocery stores, schools, and factories. The NOI successfully built a massive self-sustaining economic enterprise during his lifetime. Now, why is it important for us to know that these things were done during the time of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Brothers and sisters, the minute they started chaos, tumult in the Nation of Islam with informants, agents, narcs, to divide the key lieutenants of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who were young and ignorant of the powers of the press and the media. The target was the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That if we could get Elijah out of the way, then we can get this type of thinking out of the way. Is that right or wrong? But in order to get to Elijah, you go through his disciples. My God. I hope you can hear me, brothers and sisters. We saw the same thing happen during the time of Jesus, the one you call Jesus, whose name is Yahshua Leah Asa, that in order to weaken, my God, in order to weaken the teaching and to disperse the congregation of believers, they had to go through the lieutenants carrying the message of the messenger to destroy Jesus. Is that right or wrong? We see the same thing happening during the time of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and every black leader that has ever stepped on the scene. These are things that we must concentrate on and things that we must know. Lifestyle and discipline, how to eat to live. Not going to hold you long, brothers and sisters. Hope you're all right. Elijah placed immense focus on the physical health, hygiene, moral discipline, viewing them as essential tools for spiritual awakening. Right? There's a saying about that. Right? Cleanliness is close to God. Is that right or wrong? There's a saying about that. Lifestyle and discipline on how to eat to live. Elijah Muhammad placed immense focus on physical health, hygiene, and moral discipline, viewing them as essential tools for spiritual awakening. Dietary laws, in his 2-volume book, How to Eat to Live, he laid out strict dietary protocol. He strictly forbade pork, scavenger like crab and shrimp, and highly processed food. He advocated for fasting, recommending that followers eat only one nutritious meal a day, and even one meal every 2 or 3 days to prolong life, right, and mental clarity. The body, when it is clean, right, because when we defecate, it's the body cleaning itself out. When we are clean, when we drink spring water, we drink and eat pure foods, especially vegetation, right, and things like fish, right, pescatarian and vegetarian diets, is that right or wrong? Controlled diets, then our bodies are healthy because there's less filth it has to fight through. Is that right or wrong? So you shouldn't have any fat Muslim. Come on, brothers and sisters. I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just speaking the truth. There should be no big Muslim. There, all of us have different size and shape, but the size and shape should be complementary of our diet. When we're eating unhealthy diet, then we look unhealthy. When we eat a healthy diet, we look healthy. When we eat a regimental diet, we look regimental. Right? Our reflexes are better. Our thoughts are better. Right? Is that right or wrong? Because we are an army. Moral conduct. He prohibits consumption of alcohol, tobacco, illicit drugs. He established strict gender roles, emphasizing modesty, marital fidelity, and the protection of women through the training classes of the MGT, GCC, which is the Muslim girls training, and general civilization classes. And the fruit of Islam, male defense, listen, brothers and sisters, male defense, and discipline wing, prophecy and eschatology. His teaching contains strong apocalyptic elements regarding the fall of the Western society, which we see happening today. So everything that Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said will come to pass is coming to pass, and now you see it, and the white man can't do anything about it, right? But he calls this hate teaching, and it's a result of the guilt complex that most white people feel when you begin to talk about what they've done, what their history is, and past occurrences that they've had with every people on this planet. It is the only race that have left bloodshed, right? Violence everywhere it's went. It's the only race that says it's discovered land. The only race that says it's discovered lands by killing all the people out. I mean, completely wiping out many populations of where they went, saying that they discovered land. Liars, abusers, corrupt. Is that right or wrong? Heathenistic. And they continue this today. They're not moral people. They're not the yardstick for moral people. And those ignorant black folks that don't know it, they don't have the wisdom to listen to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, will believe that this is hate teaching. because they don't know any better. Prophecy and eschatological teachings. His teachings contain strong apocalyptic elements regarding the fall of the Western society, divine judgment on America. He prophesied that America would face divine destruction due to its historical treatment of Black people and its moral decay. The mother plane. He teaches the existence of a massive, heavily engineered craft known as the mother plane or the mother wheel, which linked to the wheel seen by the biblical prophet Ezekiel. According to his theology, the craft would play a central role in the final divine judgment and rescue of the righteous. We know our God has come and will deliver us. Historically, and don't they teach that in the Bible? That God will come, right? But also God helped those who help themselves, brothers and sisters. So we're not so heavenly minded that we're no earthly good. We are justified in defending ourselves, and we're justified in separating from this evil beast, one of the most evil and cruel beasts that has ever touched this planet. We are justified. Historical reality and context. To fully understand this teaching, it helps to view them through a lens that balances empathy for the impact with factual reality. The psychological impact, millions of marginalized Black Americans. Elijah Muhammad's teachings offered profound psychological liberation. That's what it offers us today. Is that right or wrong? In an era like today, when society actively enforces ideas of Black inferiority, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's message instills undeniable self-respect, discipline, and community pride. It serves as an effective rehabilitation program for incarcerated men, people struggling, that's Black men, incarcerated Black men, people struggling with addiction, and the economically disenfranchised. Theological and scientific divergence from a factual and theological standpoint. His doctrine, the doctrine and teaching that was given to him by Master Fard Muhammad, which is God in person, this doctrine differs sharply from Orthodox Sunni and Shia Islam, particularly regarding the incarnation of God as a man and the mythology surrounding Yaqub. This is what they say. This is what they're saying. The divergence is famously what's led his prominent student. This is what they say now, because I want you to know, divide and conquer, but this is what they'll say. They'll say that it famously led his prominent student, Minister Malcolm. No, Minister Malcolm, and I'm going to read this, which is very painful, but Minister Malcolm was manipulated. He was young and he was ignorant to be led by white folks, and then he was on his way back into the Nation of Islam. And we're going to cover that. Malcolm, as well as his own son, Wallace Waradeen Muhammad, right, chief hypocrite, to transition the majority of the movement toward Orthodox Sunni Islam after Elijah's passing in 1975. That's not true. It's not true. There were only a few that left. All of them didn't leave. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, through Minister Malcolm, was going to reestablish the Nation of Islam. But they killed them both before it could be reestablished. You understand what I'm saying? They were already learning the formal practice of Islam as it related on the international basis, but on a social basis, we were to be taught to separate from this demon and this beast known as the white man. So the trick of the government, and I need to explain this because there are many of you that don't have the understanding. The trick of the government was to misdirect the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam through Wallace Waradeen Muhammad, who manipulated Minister Malcolm in stuff that had nothing to do with the nation itself. Is that right or wrong? And polygamy is allowed in the Nation of Islam. That's true. Polygamy certainly is allowed to reproduce not in a sick manner, but to reproduce. And the manipulation of what they did in the life of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was government organized to make him look illegitimate as a leader. It's the only thing they could get him on. Let's drive a wedge between him and Malcolm. Let's use Wallace Waradeen Muhammad in order to do it. And the pattern was just insane across the country with Muslims. Just went insane. Now, so this is what they would have us believe, to transition the majority of the movement toward Orthodox Sunni Islam after Elijah Muhammad's passed in 1975. The majority of the Muslims never went there. Furthermore, mainstream genetic and historical science, right? This is what they say, don't support the Yaqub narrative of human origin. Well, they say the same thing about Jesus. Is that right or wrong? But nonetheless, you do have God and the devil in constant turmoil. So we don't accept the teachings of the white man because we know all he does is lie to us. He lies to us. But I wanted to bring this before you so you could see the thorough influence and the privilege and the results of the teaching of the black man to do something for himself. The message to the black man is not to listen to the white man. Don't work for the white man. Don't till soil for the white man. Don't do anything for his system, but do it for yourself. Any man that tell me to do something for myself, I'm going to listen to him. And it's shameful for any man to go to someone else, hoping that they feed you, hoping that they give you a job. Here you are integrated into a society that is burning up. You integrated into a burning house. It's a white man's teaching. His house is doomed. If you hadn't integrated with him, his stock was doomed. So he has to keep control of you. He needed you in slavery. He needed you prior to that in nationalism. He needed you when he was first coming out of the Mediterranean because he didn't know what to do. He didn't have any plan, didn't know what to do for himself. He needed you to survive, just like today he needs you to survive. So he won't let you go, so he keep you under laws. My God. My God. But brothers and sisters, you have to learn better and do better. And the only thing that can help you, is the message to the black man. This message. What was the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad trying to teach us? What was he trying to teach us? We have to understand and know it. What was he trying to teach us? When he gave us this message, why did he give it to us? You ever thought about that, brothers and sisters? To understand why he gave this to us, what his purpose was when he gave the message to the black man in America. What was his purpose? Read this, brothers and sisters, and I'm going to let you go. I appreciate the opportunity to do the research, to be able to bring this message to you. Published in 1965, Message to the Black Man in America is the foundational ideological manifesto of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It is widely considered the primary text for understanding the theology, social philosophy, economic blueprint for the Nation of Islam. Compiled from decades of his speeches, articles, pamphlets, books, serve as a direct call to spiritual and physical awakening for Black Americans living under the system of racism and also African. For there are Nation of Islam temples that are set up in African nations, in France, in Europe, in England. And these things you must know. You have to know these things. So here's a breakdown of the core theme, the programs and philosophies presented in the book, Message to the Black Man in America, of America. What the Muslim want and what the Muslim believe. One of the most famous sections of the book outlines the formal 10-point platform. Sounds familiar? 10-point program, 10-point platform. The Nation of Islam gave birth to every Black nationalist organization that is alive today. One of the most famous sections of the book outlines the formal 10-point platform of the Nation of Islam, which appeared on the back page of Muhammad Speaks newspaper for decades. Key demand, what we want: freedom and justice and equality, full and complete freedom, equal justice under the law, regardless of race or creed. 2, territorial separation, since the integration and the descendants of the slave masters were deemed impossible. Elijah Muhammad, leader of the Nation of Islam, messenger of God, demanded that the United States government allocate fertile, mineral-rich territory, either in North America or elsewhere, to establish an independent nation subsidized by the U.S. for 20 to 25 years as reparations for unpaid slave labor. 3, right, and these points: release of incarcerated Black men and women, demand for the release of all Black individuals held in federal and state prisons, arguing that they had not received fair trials by juries of their peers. And the final point: exemption from taxation and military service, a demand that Black Americans be exempted from U.S. taxes and military draft until they achieve full equality and true justice. The critique of the American Christian, right? Second thing to explain this, right? A significant portion of the message to the Black man challenges the religious indoctrination of Black Americans during slavery. A slave religion, and the slave religion, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad argued that the white slave owner intentionally weaponized Christianity to pacify enslaved people, teaching them to turn the other cheek, love their oppressor, and patiently await their reward in heaven after death. Heaven on earth, he taught that paradise and hell are not physical afterlife realm, but statues of conditions on earth. He argued Black people to stop waiting for the posthumous reward, instead build their own heaven of freedom, wealth, and dignity while alive. Rejection of white religious imagery. He urged followers to reject the images of white Jesus and a white God, arguing that worshiping a deity depicted, excuse me, brothers and sisters, I know you understand, the image of one's oppressors creates severe psychological damage and feeling of racial inferiority. The economic blueprint of self-reliance, these things we get from this teaching, brothers and sisters. Beyond theology, the book acts as a practical survival and economic manual. Elijah Muhammad laid out a clear economic blueprint for collective wealth building. We have to understand this. Pooling resources, he argued that Black communities spent $1 billion annually inside of white-owned businesses, impoverishing their own neighborhood. Today it would be considered 21 trillion. He instructed leaders and readers to pool their pennies, nickels, dimes to create communal wealth. Acquiring land, he stressed that land is the foundation of all economic independence, and he urged Black people to buy farmland to produce their own food, timber, and cotton, eliminating dependency on outside suppliers. Building independent institutions, he advocated for the construction of Black-owned banks, retail stores, manufacturing plants, independent schools, University of Islam, to educate Black children without Eurocentric bias. The psychological awakening, knowledge of self. The overarching narrative of the book is centered on physiological and psychological rehabilitation. Elijah Muhammad, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, diagnosed the Black American condition not just as a physical or economic poverty, but as a state of mental death caused by the erasure of historical memory during slavery. He asserted that once Black men and women learned their true history, not as descendants of slaves, but as the original people and architects of advanced ancient civilization, they will naturally shed habits of self-hatred, addiction, internal violence, and dependency. Historical impact and legacy of the message to the Black man in America became the cornerstone of the 20th century Black nationalist literature. It heavily influenced major cultural and political icons, including Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, Stokely Carmichael, who is Kwame Ture, and Dr. Khalid Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Silas Muhammad, Clarence 13X. See, and the list goes on and on, brothers and sisters. The list goes on and on. And the broader Black power and Black arts movement of the late 1960s and 70s, 80s, 90s, up into 2000, and we are constantly moving forward. Even among those who did not adopt the NOI's specific religious theology, the book's fierce emphasis on economic self-determination, community control, and an unapologetic racial pride left a permanent mark on the Black socio-political thought. So, brothers and sisters, when we think of this and we think of the economic blueprint of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when we think of the blessing and the grace given to us through the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad from God himself in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, brothers and sisters, how can we not, when we see the results of the teaching of a do-for-self philosophy and how he is number one in getting the drug addict to turn their life around, to getting the drunkard to turn their life around, to have a man who had no job to create his own job, do for himself, to rehabilitate the mental self of the Black man, to want to be somebody, who want to be the best person that he could be. Brothers and sisters, this don't happen in the Christian religion, because it's white governed and white owned. But when you get around some people who look like you, who act like you, who are suffering like you, responding like you in the same system that is built to keep us down, I ask you, is there any reason why you today should not become involved in this channel and should not become involved in this temple ethics and teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad? We welcome you. If you heard something you've heard had pricked you, don't wait tomorrow. You come now. We offer you salvation. We offer you salvations in the teaching. If I didn't say it in the beginning, I say it to you now, brothers and sisters. I love you. Assalamu alaikum. Black man, Black woman, love one another, teach your children. Black children, honor your parents as it is right in the teachings under God. And we pray that everything you touch will turn to gold, and it will. We pray that God will imbue you with the mind to do for self and the knowledge to save oneself. If I didn't say it in the beginning, I said it in the end. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Assalamu alaikum.